All right, hello everyone. I hope you're all doing really well today. In this video, I'm going to be discussing minor intervals. So this is part 2. I did a video on major intervals last week, and I would recommend watching that one if you haven't already, because this one will make more sense. However, if you're confident with your major intervals, then continue watching. So let's jump right in. As I've mentioned before, our major intervals, if I start them on C, construct the major scale. So starting from our root, which is 0.1, we create a major second, a major third, a major fourth, also known as a perfect fourth, major fifth, also known as a perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, and a major eighth, also known as an octave. Our minor intervals are essentially just flattened versions of the major intervals. So let me explain. This is our major second. If I flatten this, I get a minor second. So a major second is 2 half steps from the root. Minor second is simply 1. And this interval is very easy to recognize because it's so clashy. It's the most dissonant interval that there is because the notes are so close together. It's just like this wah, 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 kind of harsh interval. A good tune to help you remember would be the Jaws theme song. So hearing that, like singing out both of those notes, that will give you the minor interval, minor second. So I could do it here. That's a minor second, minor second, minor second. All of these are minor seconds. Our next interval is a minor third. So a major third was this, lovely and bright, 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps from the root. A minor third, we just flatten it, go back 1 half step. So now a minor third is 1, 2, 3 half steps from the root. To me, the minor third is pensive or serious, like deep in thought. That's what it reminds me of. Because I actually really love this interval. It is a little bit darker, obviously, but it just sounds more serious. So if I was to play that anywhere else, 1, 2, 3 half steps from the root. Let me start it on E. 1, 2, 3, minor third. 1, 2, 3, minor third. 1, 2, 3, minor third. A tune to help you remember the sound of it is the Spider-Man theme. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, da da da. So just that initial part, that's a minor third. Now let's have a look at our fourth. There actually is no minor fourth because there's no half step separating the third and fourth. Same thing here, there's no half step between 7 and 8. So you don't have a minor fourth and you don't have a minor eighth. So let's move on to our next, our fifth. So this is a major fifth, perfect fifth. Now if I just make it back a semitone or a half step, I get a minor fifth, also more commonly known as a tritone. So a tritone is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half steps from the root. It gets its name tritone because there is a distance of 3 tones between it, like tritone. Tone, tone, tone. So that's where it gets that name. This was actually called the devil's chord long ago. I don't know in what era exactly, but I mean, they had very strong feelings about this tritone. Da, 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 da. It's a little bit ambiguous. It could go in a different direction, so it does help create a diminished chord. You know, it could also... It can sound quite ethereal if you play it in a certain way. I quite like it. A helpful tune to remember it is the Simpsons theme. The Simpsons, da da da. And that's helpful because it also anchors you to the perfect fifth. So you can really hear 1, sharp 4, flat 5, 5. Our next interval is a minor sixth. So a major sixth is here, and if I flatten that, go back 1 half step or 1 semitone, I get a minor sixth. And this is constructed by moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 half steps from the root. And this sound, it's quite ambiguous as well. I don't think it makes me feel exactly one emotion. It can sound really nice if you fill it out. That lovely minor chord, or it could go in a major direction. A very soft major chord as well. A helpful song for remembering the sound of the minor sixth is Mamma Mia. At the beginning it goes like this. So just that perfect fifth, minor sixth. Also, this minor sixth creates an augmented chord. So if I do this, I get an augmented chord. So that's kind of how I remember the sound of it. Like I think about it as sharp 5 more than flat 6, but I mean, they're both the exact same things. Sharp 5 is flat 6. If I was to create that anywhere else, let me move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 half steps from E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a minor 6 there as well. Our next interval is a minor 7th. So a major 7th is this. Quite easy to locate because it's just one half step away from the next root. So if I want to make a minor 7th, I just have to go one half step down. And that minor 7th is constructed by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 half steps from the root. And to me, it has a bluesy quality, maybe because it's very commonly used in blues, that flat 7. And it also sounds like it just wants to lead somewhere. So I can really hear it going, or that's how I think about it in my head. A helpful song to remember the sound of the flat 7, the minor 7th is, this is going in a very ABBA-esque direction. The winner takes it all. The winner takes it all. Da, da, da. That's how you can remember the sound of it. So again, if I was to create a minor 7th from a different point, let's try it on A. So I just have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 half steps from the root. The minor 7th is also easy because similarly with the major 7th, it's just a half step from the next root up. The minor 7th is just one tone, one whole step from the next root. So that's an easy way of thinking about it as well. Something worth mentioning here is that if you invert the notes of an interval, you will get a new interval. So if I started and if I was creating a major third, and if I put that E down here, look, it becomes a new interval, a minor 6th, because there's a new distance between the notes. Here it was 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps, whereas here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 half steps. Another example, perfect fourth here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half steps from the root. If I put that F down here, because it's a new interval, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you get a new interval. The interval is really dependent on what's the lowest note. That's what's determining the interval if you were just listening to it. Because F is the lowest note here, that's what's determining the interval. I know you might overlay it and hear it as a fourth, but listen out for what is the lowest note and work with it that way. Thank you so much everyone for watching this video. I hope it was a help for you today. Let me know what you thought in the comments. There is a website that's quite helpful for having song references, and I use this because a lot of them are really common, but it's called earmaster.com and it has different reference songs. So if you don't know the songs that I was talking about, you might want to pick a different song for you, or you might have a different one in your head. I do find reference songs quite helpful to have, especially when trying to learn an interval for the first time. And then you don't really need to use them as much after it's ingrained and solidified. So again, intervals are really important for playing intuitively, for improvising, for even sheet music, but definitely for ear training. And if you want to improve your ear as a musician, I would highly recommend becoming comfortable and confident recognizing your intervals. Sometimes you can hear something and you know the sound of it, but now when you know what the interval is, you actually have a word for that. So it's going to be much easier for you to play and understand. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take care.